This is for those of you who have burning desire to know the absolute truth of reality. What if you actually never find out? Can you live with that? Can you make peace with the fact that you may never find out, at least not while in this life, what the ultimate absolute reality actually is? Can you live with that? I know it's hard because this burning desire for truth just won't go away until you actually find it. I know, I know that feeling. It's that desire. But let's be real. There are so many spiritual beliefs. There are so many spiritual teachings. There is just so much of different perspectives when it comes to the absolute truth. Every single religion has its own perspective. Every spiritual belief has also its own perspective. And there are a lot of spiritual beliefs and philosophies you can dive into. And I've read about almost all of them, probably. I've been wrestling with this question, what's the absolute truth, for years and years and years. And I've looked up every philosophy and spiritual belief and religion you can think of right now. Yes, there may be some exceptions that I have not really noticed, but that's okay. But what I've realized by seeking absolute truth is that this journey just never ends. Because once you have a question about something and you get an answer, that answer just opens up even more questions. So you're always in that seeking mode. So what we want to do, what I suggest each of us, each of us does, is that we make peace with the fact that we may never know what absolute reality is. Because that desire of wanting to know the ultimate truth just won't give you peace. It will disturb you all the time. It will make you restless. It will make you watch video after video after video, read blog after blog after blog, attend lectures, seminars, whatever you can get your hands onto, and you will be seeking, and never really finding what this spiritual thing is all about. Like, yeah, we know there is a spiritual reality, we know that for sure, but what's the absolute truth about it? Like, why do we exist here on this physical realm? What's the purpose of life? um, all these questions, it's good to seek answers because they lead you on a path of discovery. That's good about it. But at some point, once you've seen all the spiritual beliefs, all the religions, everything basically, and nothing really gives you this thing that you don't really know what it is, but you're looking for something, you're looking for absolute truth, that's what you're looking for. uh, you may not necessarily know that, but there is something within you that keeps seeking it. That's cool for the stage. That's perfectly cool. We all on the spiritual path have to go through that seeking stage. And it's not that the seeking stage ends. It's not like you stop reading books about it or watching people who you admire talk about that. That's fine. But when it becomes obsessive, then it starts doing you more harm than good, actually. And that's the moment where you want to actually find some way to make peace that right now you don't know the absolute truth, and you may never get to know it in this life. Can you live with that? Can you still enjoy life without knowing the absolute truth? Or do you need more information, more wisdom, more? You see? Because at a certain point you have everything you need. You've read enough, you've watched enough videos. Now what's next? Do your spiritual practice and stay on the path, and just integrate your spirituality, so to say, into your everyday life. Allow spirituality to transform you, because that's what spirituality is all about. It's all about getting more in tune with who you are and allowing your essence to shine through this human form and express itself. That's the one of the purposes of spirituality. Of course, connection to source, divine, that's also a huge aspect. But if you have some connection already to the divine, um, and you've touched something internally that you could say is a spiritual reality within you, then you just keep doing these things. You don't need to read more books, watch more videos. If you enjoy them, sure, but it's all about what place are you coming from when you're reading these books and watching these videos. Are you like still seeking something, an answer? Because you may have a burning question. It may not be about absolute truth, or it may be that you're in some life circumstances that you don't know why you're going through them, and you just can't find a way out, and you're seeking. That's another thing. But the main idea of this video is, can you accept the stage that you're in right now? Can you do that? Can you have some self-acceptance? Because that's so important to your well-being and peace and your balance. Because if you don't have self-acceptance, if you don't accept the level that you are right now, whatever the level may be, and there are infinite levels, so you can never get to the highest level because they're infinite. You can always grow and expand even more. Existence and non-existence, um, it's an infinite game. So you cannot really conquer the game because it's endless, basically. So be okay with where you're at right now. Be okay with who you are. And if you feel confused about truth, let's say, just forget about truth. Forget about finding absolute truth. Live your life. Live your life, but don't get like completely in delusion again into seeking more, achieving more, and so on, because you get lost in that. Live your life, but live it in a more balanced way. If that's what you're all about, all I can tell you is that living a more balanced life is just, it's way better. You just feel better, you think better, you feel better. Everything about life gets better if you have balance. Balance is by far the greatest thing I have found in this life. If you're unbalanced, you will suffer inevitably. If you're balanced, you still have challenges and obstacles, but they will, um, you will not be 100% crushed by them, because you're balanced again. You're stabilized, you're stable within. So when a challenge comes, it may shake you a little, but then you return to being stable again. Why? Because um, you're stable within because of your spiritual practice, because of your balanced life. And that's the ultimate wealth you can have. I cannot see any bigger wealth than being balanced and stable within. I cannot see something that's better than that. Maybe you can see something, but I don't know. For me, balance and being stable is like the greatest wealth. And you can only discover that it is the greatest wealth you can have by experiencing it. And if you don't feel balanced right now, accept that, but strive to get balanced, but still accept where you're at. Because before you become a more balanced person, so to say, what happened for me is that I went to the two extremes. I was completely unbalanced in one extreme, then I went to completely opposite extreme, and then I found like, wait, these extremes, they don't really feel nice. They feel nice for a short amount of time where you're excited, and you're just going. That's the one opposite, and it feels nice for a while because you're achieving all of these things, you're getting so much stuff done, but then it starts becoming exhausting, and it's like you cannot chill anymore, you cannot rest, you forgot how to rest, you forgot how to relax, so you go to the other opposite, which is I only relax and I don't want to do anything. And then over there, at first it feels nice because you are so much in the other extreme that now you need to go to the opposite side, and that's why it feels nice. But at some point you start stabilizing, you start finding a middle ground to things, and that's the middle ground is like the secret of living a happy life. And happiness is something that comes and it goes. It's not something you can really control. One day you have it, another day you don't. But balance, yeah, being stable and balanced while going through this roller coaster of life, this journey of life, being stable and balanced is nothing can beat that. At least nothing I have found. Maybe there's something, but I don't really think so. I don't really think so. Even if you get all the money in the world, let's say you become a billionaire, you get the mansion, you get the Bugatti, you get the Lamborghini, Ferrari, whatever you like. You get all of them. Let's say you get all of them. You have a deep, loving relationship with your partner. You have good friends, but you're deeply imbalanced. You are just not stable within. What will happen is you will not be able to enjoy any of it, and your life will feel like a disaster. But this does not mean that these things are bad or inherently wrong or something like low level. If you want like to have a loving relationship or get some money, that somehow you're a materialistic person. No, these are normal human desires that we need to accept we have, and if we really want to experience them, then we really should try to make them happen. But don't lose yourself in the process. That's the thing. If you want to achieve something, go on, achieve it. If you want to find a loving partner, go on. Yeah, good luck with that. That's up to destiny, basically. Everything is up to destiny. That's the thing. Everything is up to destiny. Um, and you need to be able to also make peace with that. Because what determines what desires you have? You could say previous lives, karmic tendencies, and so on. Okay, that's one level. But why did you have the past lives that you had? Why did you have everything that you've been through as a soul, not only in this life, in all your lives? Why? Why was that your journey? Because of destiny. Why was it not other way? Because the will of God, the will of the divine is everything that happens. Doesn't matter how bad or good it seems to us, the will of God always happens. Everything that happens is the will of God. And I've been through many seasons of my life where I was just cursing God. Like, um, I was in such a defeated state. Life crushed me again and again and again, where I thought I knew God existed because I've had spiritual experiences with the divine presence, so to say. But I was like, okay, if I know that the divine exists, but why do I still have to go through these things? If there is divine power running my life, making me alive, giving me the life force, making me express my life force in a certain way, and going through all these difficulties is like the divine evil in some way. And I never really believed in that, but I was just wondering, just curious about it. You start asking questions like, I'm not hurting anyone, at least not consciously. I'm not stealing. I'm not killing. I'm not. I'm doing everything right on paper. So to say, I'm being nice to people. I'm doing my best to be patient about things, but still, I'm deeply suffering. This is when you think God or the divine is some evil creature, which the divine is not really a creature and it's not really evil. It has to be something beyond good and evil. You see, it has to be the force that created good and evil, both of them. And it's playing as them in this game of existence. It has to be something like that. I cannot really tell you what the divine is because I don't really think there is a human explanation to that. You just cannot explain it. You cannot go there. You just cannot go there to the absolute truth because that's just how the game is set. You just cannot go there. You cannot find out the absolute truth unless you're meant to find it. But then I would still question, is that the absolute truth? You never know. You never know. But still seeking truth is a very beneficial thing because you find some truth. You find some truth and you live by that truth and your life transforms completely. All I can tell you is that if you don't have any truth in your life, you will be constantly confused, constantly. I'm not saying that here and there you're confused. That's normal. That's normal. We all lose clarity from time to time. That's normal. But if you're constantly confused, like for years and years, you're in deep depression that you can't get out. That's that's the divine taking you on the path of truth. And that's the only salvation you can find from that confusion and depression. It's seeking truth and then embodying that truth and living by that truth. And again, will you be able to find the absolute truth? Very few souls can find that while on the physical plane. You may find it somewhere on other planes of existence, but for the physical plane, there are only so few souls who have seen or experienced, better put, the absolute reality. So make peace with everything. Make peace with yourself, make peace with life, make peace with people. Don't create unnecessary conflict and drama with yourself, with other people. Sure, stand up for yourself. You need to set boundaries and so on. That's for sure. And you need to be able to say no to certain things. That's true. But don't create any unnecessary drama and conflict. If a conflict is necessary, which means you have to stand up for yourself, totally create that. But if you see it's not really worth the effort and you can just let it pass, then you do that. It will make your life more peaceful, because essentially this is what we're all seeking. We're all seeking peace. Every single person on this planet is seeking peace. It's just that most people associate having something as believing that this, when I have it, I will have peace. But what you discover is that there is always a next thing. There is always a next problem. There is always a next thing to look forward to. There is always something in the future. See? So what we need to do is let go of all of that. All of that. Forget about the future, forget about everything, and just live your life right here, right now. And do what you want to do. That's so important. Do what you really want to do. Disclaimer, don't do things that harm other people and yourself, but positive things. If you want to start a business, start a business. If you want to have a deep conversation with someone, have that conversation. If you want to record a video, upload it to YouTube, do that. Express yourself. If you want to make art, make art. Whatever it is that you want to do, just forget about some distant future where you will be doing these things. Do it right now. Do it right now and find a way to enjoy it. Because if you're doing it just as a means to an end, you want to get something, it will be a hellish process. It will be a hellish process. You will constantly struggle and fight through it, where it can be actually a much more enjoyable experience, where you do it for the sake of doing it. Yes, you may have some goal, sure, but just don't think so much about it. Just do the thing. A spiritual practice, whatever you feel resonates with you, do that and forget about everything else. Forget about finding absolute truth and so on. If you're meant to find absolute truth, you will eventually find it. How? You don't know. But if it's meant to be, it will be. That's a principle you have to trust. Whatever is meant to be will always be. It cannot be changed. That's what true sages will tell you. That's what people of true wisdom have always shared this message from all different spiritual traditions and religion and so on. They've all said that whatever is meant to be will be, or whatever the will of God is, it will be. This is a universal truth. It's not, it applies to me, it doesn't apply to you. It applies to everyone. What's meant to be in your life will be. So don't really worry about things. It's useless, basically. It's draining your energy, your attention, everything. But for a while, you cannot help it. I know. You will worry, you will fear, you will seek truth and be miserable because you cannot find it. For a while, that needs to be the stage. But then you grow out of it. Then you grow out of it by realizing that what are you seeking? You're seeking peace. You're not seeking absolute truth. You're seeking peace. But you have a belief that absolute truth will give you peace. So make peace with everything. If you can change something, totally change it. Sure. But still make peace with your present circumstances, with your present life. If you feel you can't make peace, it doesn't matter how hard you try. This means you need to change something. See, you're trying to make peace with something, but it doesn't work. You've tried and tried and tried. You can't make peace with it. You've accepted it. You've consciously made the effort again and again to make peace with something, but you just cannot make peace with it. It means that thing needs to be changed. So work on changing it. And then you have peace. So it's a very complex thing. Uh, but going to extremes doesn't do you any good. So find out what you need to make peace with and what you need to change, and do these things. And your life will get better. Because that's why you watch videos, that's why you read blogs, that's why I watch videos, that's why I read blogs. I'm not saying these things as if I'm not doing them. I'm doing them. Everything I'm sharing here comes from direct experience in my life. Everything I'm sharing, I've been through. I know. So that's why I can offer you a perspective where you see that some things you need to accept, other things you need to change, and finding absolute truth, you may not find it. So make peace with that, be okay with that, and just be here. I could talk for hours and hours, but we're already at 27 minutes, so we need to end this video right now. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for being here. Drop a like to help the channel. This helps me grow. I appreciate it a lot. Leave me any questions you have in the comment section, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also, I have a link down in the description box which leads to my website, my blog, the music I make, what else? My email if you want to contact me, and I think that's it. I'm working on a book. Well, I still haven't started working on it, but soon, probably. And once I release it, I'll let you know. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you.